What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Game Over Greggy Show. I am one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer / seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Hi, Greg.
How you doing?
Well,
our shirts are almost the same color gray.
I love that shirt.
Yeah, I do too.
It's got a texture on it. It's got the texture from like the actual movie.
I'm wearing a Batman shirt from the hit movie Batman v Superman.
But it's not the normal Batman, like the '89 Batman, which I love. But it's
it's
from
the
Batman. Actual like Dark Knight Batman.
It's Batman v Superman. This is the Batman v Superman shirt.
Well, I'm setting it up for people who don't, because there is a difference, right? It's more of a fatter Batman. It's more of a stronger Batman. It's more of a taller, like have sex with your nanny Batman.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Yeah. My God.
Over there, the pure one, Tim Gettys.
I love you, Nick.
It's been a year and a half since you had no facial hair, and here you are, baby face.
Since I've been this pure.
Yeah. How's it feeling?
It feels good. I mean, I did it for one reason, Greg, and that reason is that so many people keep tweeting and saying, I didn't know that Greg was saying the pure one. I thought they were saying the pure one. And it's like the pure one's not even sponsoring them. I'm like, I know, exactly. So I wanted to make it.
That. Really?
I wanted to make sure it's clear
imports?
to people, that I am the pure one.
Pure.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Pure. People really thought we were saying pure one.
One guy tweeted at me.
Was he high?
I don't know.
Probably. You don't even know what that means anymore. I can't. You look
what
like
does
you.
that mean?
You look like you're 19. You don't have any
I don't
world
know anything
experience
anymore.
You have no world experience.
What's in my pants? I don't know.
Do you remember that? Do you remember those days when Tim didn't know what was in his pants? He didn't know how to use
That
it.
was I do remember because it was only about 5 years ago.
It wasn't even 5 years
There
ago.
was a time when Tim would just like
years.
holding hands with Tim was just too much. He was like, I don't want there to be any sort of implication behind this or any commitment to this.
And
I
now
just
I
wanna
have
be
a
this
love and
person's
sex
friend.
advice show
Yeah.
that gets seen by millions.
And we never talk about it
Almost.
online, but Tim is the nastiest out of all of us.
Is he?
Oh my God.
I'm
you guys,
nasty
no
as
one's ever
fuck.
heard this, but
I
like
dive
even the
face first into
conversation in
that.
there about
Into that what?
Anything you want, really.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
all right.
My choice. And rounding out the group today, filling in for Colin Moriarty, Vernon Shaw.
Hey.
Now,
Stop it. Stop.
ladies and gentlemen, you might not know Vernon Shaw by face or name, but you know his handiwork. He created Hot Pepper Gaming.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. I always
Yay.
tell people that it's kind of tough that the most successful thing I've ever done is the dumbest idea I've ever had.
No, that's
I
good.
like it a lot.
Yeah, that works
It's a
out.
lot of fun to work on. Thanks for eating those things, guys.
Oh yeah. Dude, honestly, we do a lot of dumb shit here at Kind of Funny.
I can
But
tell.
it's like exactly.
I've seen your products. I know.
But those videos are like some of my favorite things that we've ever done, and
Thank
people
you so
love
much,
that
man.
shit. Whenever people are like, "What are my favorite Kind of Funny moments?" The hot pepper stuff comes up.
yeah.
Always.
Really?
Yeah.
Hot Pepper
yeah.
Gaming's great. Yeah.
Oh man, if you guys
It's a
ever want to come
brilliant
back,
idea.
let me know.
Hey. Anytime.
Oh, yeah. Anytime there's a Batman game, I'll be there. You know
Right,
that.
yeah.
That's the deal. That's the blood
Can we
pact.
talk really
I'm good.
quickly about your hardening bat nipples?
It was unexpected. You know what I mean? Out of all the things that were happening in my Batman review there of Arkham Knight when I was wearing the bat suit, I was not cognizant of the nipples getting hard when the peppers kicked in.
Oh, but the fan base was.
Oh, the fan base was very well. The
And they loved
gifts,
it.
lots of gifts from that one.
The bat nips, man. I mean,
bat
they
nips.
were a thing before, but you brought it back.
I did.
I feel like it's
Thank you,
because
Joel Schumacher.
there are so few moments in life where you can actually see the nipple getting hard. You're aware of it once it's hard,
It's true.
but like actually seeing it go from soft to hard,
From
The
flaccid.
transition phase.
from flaccid to erect,
Yeah.
is something to behold.
It
It
is.
really is.
I was happy to do and live all that for you on youtube.com/hotpeppergaming. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Game Over Greggy Show. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table. Each bring a random topic of discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindoffunny and toss us a few bucks to get every episode early, along with a bunch of bonus content. And this month, January, to fund Kind of Funny, the animated series. We are so close to our $75,000 goal. Go there. Even if you've never donated to us on Patreon, just give us $1 for this 1 month. February, erase it. Delete your Patreon pledge. We don't
This
mind.
is the last week.
This is your last chance for us to bitch and moan about this.
Yeah.
And then we'll all complain about how episode 9 ends on a cliffhanger and we'll never know what happens 10, 11,
Imagine
12.
if we did that. Like, one of us dies, and it's like,
Or it's just
what?
like the end of Seinfeld where like we all go to jail for no reason and it's super fucking dumb.
I don't know if Colin would allow that.
If you don't have the bucks to toss, no big deal. Head over to youtube.com/kindoffunny where we post the show day by day, topic by topic, until the entire thing is up. Is one big video for free and one big MP3 for free. Nick,
Yeah.
you're going to lead off today. Usually we let the guests go, but a lot's been happening in our world, my world in particular,
Yes.
me. So your topic is about something I care
My
about.
topic
is why I'm putting you
is
first.
about the latest round of things that have come out of the DC camp.
Mm-hmm.
Namely, last night there was an event. I believe Kevin Smith hosted it, and this
Yes,
is where
Jeff
we're showing
Johns was on there.
Jeff Johns was on there, and they showed quite a lot of things. So I wanted to get your perspective. We haven't had a chance to break it down yet, so
Right.
I wanted to use this as the opportunity.
We did the GameSpot video where
We did the
Tim and
GameSpot
I
video.
did the suicide thing frame by frame.
and I that was awesome, and it ran a little bit longer than the normal video, but it was such good content that I'm like, I bet we could talk more about that. I bet.
Well, what I'm saying is that it was just Tim and I talking. It wasn't opinion based. It was just about the facts of it all.
Yes.
I don't know what you think of any of this. I
Right.
don't know what Vernon thinks of any of this. There's so many things happening in the DC
we're
universe.
gonna find out if I know what I think about this too.
Okay.
Have you seen these things?
I haven't seen the new Suicide Squad trailer.
Man, we
Son of
suck
a
at preparing
bitch.
for things.
Yeah.
You know what?
yeah,
He
yeah.
asked me, and I was like, I don't think we're going to talk about that on the show today.
Good job.
So I
Thanks,
told him
Nick.
not to watch it. Do you want to excuse him for 5 minutes so he can go
Yeah,
watch that trailer?
I'll prep it. I'll
Absolutely.
prep it on the
All right.
iPad and send Vernon out.
You
of the
should
room.
send him the set him up with the Wonder Woman footage too, because I want to talk about that as well.
I saw that though.
Oh, there
Did
you go.
see
You
that?
see all that?
Okay, cool.
Strong shoulders.
Yeah.
Very
What does that mean? Strong shoulders.
Gal Gadot has good shoulders. Is what
Gal
he
Gadot
said.
has good everything.
great shoulders.
She's one of those rare human beings that like just makes you, as me, not you. I mean, you guys probably have more self confidence than I do, but I look at her and I'm like, I'm just a piece of pond scum on your shoe.
Damn.
Pond scum.
Yeah, just like you walked over me and it
Man,
made your
Nick.
I made your foot just a little slippery for a second, and then
Yeah.
you never thought about me again. That's how I compare to Gal Gadot.
See, I disagree. I think Gal Gadot has kind eyes. She has kind eyes. She could easily be there to. She wouldn't forget you. She wouldn't.
I don't. I have no doubt the woman is an angel and,
Yeah.
and a beautiful
Kind
soul.
eyes.
But I would just say, like, she's when you look at her, she's super accomplished.
Yes.
she's a good.
She was in
actress.
Fast and Furious. Now she's Wonder
She
Woman.
was in
super
two
confident.
I just
Fast
see
and
her as
Furious
family.
movies. She is family, and she's just so good looking.
Yeah.
that it makes me feel like a gnome, like a garden gnome.
I like
That's
your like
just
garden theme this
coming
one. There's a
out of the
pond.
bushes a little bit to bite you right on the heel,
Sure.
and then
sure.
I run back in.
Yeah, garden gnomes, little biting garden gnomes.
The fuck what do garden gnomes do? It's
Nothing. They sit there. They travelocity around the
nailed
world.
a good commercial.
What
a good
Earth
one.
is DC universe? Like, what would it be? Earth 556? Is there a number?
That's Marvel shit. Get out.
Oh,
of it.
DC doesn't do that.
No, they
what do
do.
they call
There's
it?
Earth 2s and there's the 52 and all that stuff. This is just Earth. Just don't
Just
worry about
Earth?
it. Let's not even worry about it. Let's
Okay.
not even get into the multiverse right now and confuse everybody. We finally have a DC cinematic universe. Let's just stick
Let's
with it.
call it that.
Let's not getting crazy about
Okay.
anything.
So let's take it off the top. The big news. The
Right.
big was the second Suicide Squad trailer.
Sure. Which they're saying is the first official trailer.
So I was
Instead
right.
of the Comic-Con trailer, which I think is
Just
garbage.
saying.
That's
So that
just-
was a teaser. The Comic-Con was a teaser.
They didn't
They
say
need to-
teaser. No, there's-
They need to qualify what counts as a trailer versus.
I think
what
they
counts
just
as
need
a
to get
trailer.
over themselves and that there's been 2 trailers.
Yeah.
Period.
I don't
Understatement.
understand. It used to be, and at least in my brain, and I could be wrong about this, but it used to be like a teaser was like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And a trailer was like a full 1 minute to 2 minute long trailer.
I mean,
But now
not
it's like you
necessarily.
get a trailer that drops, or a teaser that drops, it's 5.5 minutes, and you're like, it's just a teaser, man. It's not a trailer until we tell you it's a trailer.
So what did you think of the trailer?
So I liked it. My first impression was this is very much similar to what's happened with me in Deadpool, where I watched that first trailer and I was like, that's pretty
The
cool.
Comic-Con trailer.
The Comic-Con trailer. Then I watched this one. I'm like, I'm getting more of a sense of the tone of the movie, and I kind of like where it's going. Namely, anyone who's fun enough to use Queen,
Right.
For the and actually edit to those beats,
Yeah.
has at least a style in mind when they're dealing with this
Right.
picture. And I think that it's going to be. My hope is that it's going to be super funny and super fucking dark. Like
It won't be super dark.
I want it to be like I want it to have the intensity of Dark Knight,
No,
but with
get
the
outta
humor
here.
of Iron Man.
No. That
could
doesn't
be
even
fun.
make sense. That doesn't even a world that exists.
But yeah, I mean, I liked it. I will see it. It's still sort of middle of the road for me, though. Truth be told, like I'm still not. I was telling you earlier that like some of the Harley beats, none of those worked for me. Like every time she
Really?
said anything, I was like,
Yeah,
that,
I
that
just
was
when
a
she's
missed
like the
opportunity.
voices in her head and she does I was like, that is awesome. The
Yeah,
entire
but then
delivery
she's
there
like
was awesome.
at the end, she breaks open the thing and she's like, "Get over it. We're bad guys. This is what we do."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Well, I get that, but you know, it doesn't have what I want it to have." And again, we're all a bunch of big babies, so we're just whining about it.
I'm not whining at all. I loved the trailer. I thought it was awesome.
But what I really liked out of like when we saw the Iron Man trailer for the first time was you got a sense of how quippy and how quick that sharp that dialogue was going to be in that film, right? Where he's like, no gang signs, things like that. Where you threw it up and he just fucking sold it. Like everything that came out of Robert Downey Jr.'s mouth just worked. Like when he has the speech where he's like, "That's how Dad did it. It's worked out pretty okay so far." Sorry.
And everybody's like, "Are you drunk, Iron Man?" He's like,
am
"I'm not even Iron Man yet."
So my disappointment with the trailer wasn't that. I mean, I think it's gonna be a fun movie, and again, I'm gonna see it, but there's no wow moments, and I think this is
that trailer.
I think this is a bigger problem in general with just trailers right now, because we're getting bombarded by these superhero trailers. That like it's all just starting to sound the same. That's my theory. That's my take on this.
Vernon, it's fresh in your mind. What do you think?
I literally just watched it. I would argue against that. Maybe if I'm just taking a DC centric look at superhero movies, but up until this point, we've only been dealing with like really gray movies, man. Like just really just like gritty superhero-y movies, like like Batman Begins style movies, like that worked for them for a while. They've been doing it for a bit. This is the first DC thing that I've seen it's like you felt a style and you felt like pushing against something like a preconceived norm of like, this is the gray movie where we have a shaky camera when people fight. So I was not stoked for Suicide Squad up until literally just 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
See, for me, that trailer did exactly. It was the best trailer possibly could have been for that movie. I agree with Nick in the sense that like, whatever, this movie's gonna happen and it's gonna be fine. I'm not like, this is not Star Wars by any stretch of the imagination. Sure. It's not even like, it's not Fast and Furious. It's not something that I'm like, oh my god.
Established franchises that you love, yes. Well, it's not those things.
Well, no, but even then though, it's not like something like Deadpool that I'm like, I am stoked to see Deadpool. It is similar to Deadpool, and then I'm like, all right, it's gonna be whatever it is. Like, it's not gonna be a game-changing movie. And I think the trailer was awesome. It was very, very cool for all the reasons you guys were saying. I like it. I love the music thing, and it has a nice vibe to it. At the same time, it's like, doesn't go far enough for what I would like that movie to be. But at the same time, I don't really know what I want that movie to be, because I don't really know what the fuck the Suicide Squad is. Now, we keep talking about Guardians of the Galaxy in other videos we've done, where this is DC's Guardians in the sense that no one knows who the characters are, and it's bad guys, even the Guardians, they're criminals, they're not bad guys.
Expectations are low.
Grouping together, yeah, exactly. There's no preconceived thing of what this should be.
Yeah.
You know, having said that, this does have the Joker and Harley Quinn, so there is kind of at least some point of we know what this is. Whereas Guardians, it was all just fucking new shit. Sure, you know? But Guardians also had the luxury of coming after so many movies that had built up this whole thing. This is coming at a time when all we really have to go off now is Man of Steel. And they're obviously co-promoting this with Batman v Superman to kind of like catch up. And I feel like this is them kind of jumping ahead years to what Marvel did. And I think they were doing a good job of it. Like, I think that these trailers coming out the way they are, and this trailer being this trailer, this is them being like, all right, we're where Guardians was at that time. It's a risky maneuver, and I don't know if it's going to pay off necessarily, but I think that they did a really good job on selling me of like, oh shit, this is exactly what it should be. So,
okay. So you're saying your perspective is you think they're actually going to be able to skip the whole Iron Man generation altogether? And
no, they're doing that. That generation exists, right? Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg are all introduced in Batman v Superman, right? And then they have solo films.
Well,
I'm not saying that. I mean, they don't have to, like, what Tim's saying is that they're trying to be more strategic and not have to and ride the current wave, right? Like, this, it's a distinctively different set of circumstances now than it was when Iron Man 1 came out, right? They have so much more going for them, where like, you don't have to define what a comic book movie is anymore. We've already seen like the good, the bad, the ugly. Had to go there. But we've already seen good, bad, serious, fun, whatever. Yeah. So I think what Tim's saying, and I think it's a valid point, is that I think that coming out with a trailer like this, Queen, it's bad guys, I don't think you need to explain that as much as you would have had to 10 years ago.
Exactly. And also, this is the first time we're getting a bad guy movie. Like, just straight up, this is a villain movie.
That's my point. When people start likening it to Guardians of the Galaxy, which I heard you talk about a little bit earlier, I think there's an even bigger opportunity here than Guardians, because whenever you have a group of anti-heroes together, like Guardians wasn't an anti-hero movie. It was a movie about outsiders, but they were still heroic, right? At no point did, Star-Lord, he was for profit, but he wasn't a killer or a robber. He was just he was like the Han Solo, like a little bit of a rogue, but still a bit of a gentleman when you peel back some of the layers. Whereas these people are killers. Like, this is Harley Quinn, who is probably no redeemable qualities as far as good versus evil is concerned. So you have the opportunity to do something really, really unique here that you don't have anywhere in the Marvel universe.
When I bring up the Guardian stuff, I'm actually using it as a disadvantage for Suicide Squad. Like, I'm not saying it as like, oh, it has all the things the Guardians had going for it. Like, I was saying Guardians had nothing going for it, and like, despite that, succeeded. Whereas this is, it has that.
It has characteristics of where Guardians was.
Exactly.
Not
and
in terms of plot.
There's the fear of that, though, because Guardians was a huge success.
Right.
Whereas this is like, I don't know if it's going to resonate the same way. But again, the Joker. The Joker is the factor of just like, he looked fucking awesome in this trailer. It was a different Joker, but it also had the same things of why we like the Joker.
Yeah.
And why it's such an iconic character. And I think that that's what's going to sell the normal people. The people that are like, they enjoy superhero movies without knowing what that means.
And at what point do you just trust Jared Leto to do a good job?
From the jump. Ever since my so-called life, I've trusted Jared Leto, and I will continue to.
I'm trying to think of a point when he's messed up or I've not liked his character, but I think like if anyone's gonna have a good crack at the Joker, it's gonna be Jared Leto.
He already seems creepy. He already seems scary and funny, and all the things you'd want the Joker to be.
Yeah.
When he jumps into the vat of chemicals after Harley, just the way he dives,
the look of it,
let's
just
go.
like,
He's so loose. Like, holy shit,
yeah,
that's awesome.
it's really awesome.
Style.
And talking about Harley Quinn, you were saying that like you thought it didn't really like land. The jokes didn't land for you.
Yeah.
I liked it. I agree that like they didn't hit for me of like, oh my god, I fucking love that. The way that in Iron Man, like I would have never even brought up the Iron Man trailer in comparison to this, but like you bring it up does make sense where it's like characters that like I was familiar with.
Remember the trailer I'm talking about? Bang.
Oh yeah,
of course. He's like, don't throw everything against signs. I'm just kidding. Get in here, right? And like
nailed
that,
it.
you're like, oh, I kind of wanted this. This already just sold me on this world and this character. And even if the action in this movie sucks, I want to spend some time with Tony Stark because he's the kind of guy that I want to watch. For
exactly, and I feel like Harley Quinn has that same type of. People like her
personality.
She's a popular character for a reason, and I think that this movie, I hope at least, isn't showing us a lot. I think that the Batman v Superman trailer fucking showed so much, and everyone's all upset about this. This trailer just showed a whole bunch that we don't really understand.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
we sat there and did the things you don't know for GameSpot, right? And it was like, all right, now he's wearing this, and you're trying to piece together a timeline and like wonder, my prediction is right that like Harley is the center of the film for the audience. It's her origin story that then leads into this based on everything we saw, because we've seen her. It looks like we've seen her go from Dr. Quinzel to becoming Harley Quinn, and then now she's on the Suicide Squad and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. But so for me, I think this trailer kind of just put it out there and just assumed that people liked Harley already, and they didn't need to sell her, so they sold people like Captain Boomerang and sold all these other random motherfuckers and gave them the kind of moments.
Yeah,
Harley had her moments. I'm hoping that Harley has real moments in the movie and that they're not blowing that in the trailer, and I think that would be very smart for them to do.
I hope Croc and Boomerang have moments. That's what I mean. That's the one. I think when I look at the trailer and you're seeing it, I think you can see where Harley and Will Smith are like doing this thing, and then you're gonna have these peaks that I hope are Boomerang with that beer in that one scene. Like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
like, what else is he gonna do?
That is one of the moments that sold me.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, and they're tugging on the old heartstrings by using Queen. I don't know why I did that.
Well, self-aware there
tugging
too.
on the old
heartstrings.
Well, we're all expecting like that was the moment that everyone's like, all right, shit's about to go down because we know the music, we know what happens there, everyone knows,
and they get to the break,
quiet, and him just open up a fucking beer. That's amazing.
That was awesome. But opening up a beer and you could tell in the middle of like they're in the
shit
middle of
going
shit,
down.
right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, a beer, cool. Like I haven't had one of these in a while because I've been in fucking prison for like the last 2 years. So that's what I'm talking about when I say they have an awesome opportunity. You can get away with shit like that, and we believe that, and we want to see the characters doing that. But one of the hard parts is that you have to take inevitably, and this is the hardest thing with the Suicide Squad in general, is that you have to take a group of villains and actually root for them. And so that's what I'm really excited to see how they try to do that.
But I think that's why you're going to see these center points, right? Where I think Harley is going to be a tragic tale. Harley, we're going to see how she was a normal person just like us who got abducted by the Joker and turned into this monster, right? Who's not even a monster as much as she's just completely unhinged and unbalanced and does whatever she wants to in the moment.
And very attractive.
And very attractive. I'm sure that'll work to her benefit as well. I felt like such an idiot because I watched the trailer like 20 times last night or whatever. And then I was like, I love this trailer. And someone screen capped the part where she was bending over getting the person. I was like, never even noticed that like there was like this lingering shot on her ass. I was like,
I mean, dude, to me though, I think it was very smart how they did that, just in the sense where I can see how you missed it because it's not. There
I was
is
like, what is she getting? And what does it say in Latin?
But at the same time, like Harley has sexuality.
Yeah, no,
about
she's
her,
a bombshell.
She's a bombshell. They nailed that, and it was like very apparent.
So she's gonna be this tragic character that we're drawn to. I think Will Smith is the exact same way. Even from that first trailer that they put out, the Comic-Con trailer, it's him in his civilian clothes as Floyd walking with his daughter, right? Like that's the thing that's going to happen. I'm sure he's put into this life of crime to generate money or income or save his daughter. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be one of those, like, don't get me wrong, he's a cold-blooded killer, but he was doing it for good reasons, or you know what I mean? Like those will be the ones. Croc is not gonna. We're never gonna like Croc.
Croc's not gonna
right?
be the redeemable character. Yeah.
Diablo might like Diablo in like they're already setting up in the trailer of him being in that like he's a fire-based guy and he's in this like water tank and then they pour. He's clearly being tortured by Alpha 1 or whatever, or being put through the paces to see if he can make the Suicide Squad. There's something there. Katana, it wasn't in this trailer, but in the Comic-Con trailer, she's crying at one point, right? And her whole thing is that she has the blade, right, that has all the souls of everyone she's ever killed, and she can communicate with. I mean, maybe she killed her father. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, there's gonna be weird things in there.
But see that makes me excited to hear, right? Because the most fascinating villains or antagonists in any story are the ones that, there's that old saying that the best antagonist is the person that believes that they're the protagonist of their own story.
Yeah, they think they're a hero.
They like seeing that these people are real and seeing that they're going through torture, but they just for some reason have to do bad is fascinating to me. Not in regards to Harley, because I mean I agree, like Harley's just probably going to be. You're right. I think she's going to be more of a tragic tale. I don't think there's going to be a lot of redemption in her story. Yeah. But with the Floyd Lawton character, or with who's the RoboCop, the guy from The Killing.
Can you give me a little bit more of like what he does in the movie trailer that I just watched? I can help you there.
Goatee, blonde. I think he's not Boomerang. That's Jay Courtney, right?
Yeah.
Who's the other guy? The guy that's like the leader of the squad.
Oh, Flag.
Captain
Rick Flag.
Yeah, Rick Flag. So what do we know about his character?
He's a government official. He's not a criminal.
Okay, so
he's like the guy put on. He's
one of the
boots on the
main
ground
characters.
to like make sure these guys go out there and do their job.
So I feel that's an opportunity right there too, where he can have back and forth with Lawton.
Exactly.
And be like, we're two guys on this.
And that's the other thing too is like
right?
Enchantress, right? Is the moon character or whatever, and she has this witch possessing her, and it based on the first trailer. What I pieced together in the second trailer is that when she goes in that cave, it somehow gets like locked onto her, possesses her, whatever. It's part of her, and she has a romantic relationship with Flag based on the first trailer. You know what I mean? Like there's already something that. But then it's the whole thing of like Enchantress coming out and taking over, and maybe being the villain of the story, or at least working against the Suicide Squad in this thing. There's a lot going on. I think
there's a lot going on. Let's shift gears for a second then. So we saw a little bit of Wonder Woman then last night. Not an official trailer or teaser, but we saw some behind the scenes. Or no, we saw some scenes from it as they talked over it.
Her and Chris Pine. Why do I keep wanting to say Prine?
I don't know.
Prine makes me think of brine, and then I should marinate that chicken. I keep forgetting to marinate.
Or Optimus Brine.
Optimus Brine is like badass.
Oh, Greg, you must marinate that chicken.
At the beginning, it was really good.
Thanks.
Go back to the first part.
Oh, no. So what were your thoughts on that? Because I have some interesting thoughts, but I have some thoughts.
I thought it was basically, I mean, like it was like a moving screenshot. We've had that shot of her forever, like up against the bushes looking through, and that one moved, and then we got to see a little bit. It's a period piece, right? Set in World War I. I think that's cool. I think it'll be interesting to see how that is. I was more interested by what Jeff Johns was talking about with it, that she is somehow connected to the Greek gods and stuff like that, and it's like that's fascinating.
Well, that's how it's always been, right?
I mean, yeah, most of the time, yes, but it's like. My whole thing is like the big thing we're missing, I feel like, and it's going to obviously have to be touched on a little bit in Batman v Superman, but the big thing that's crazy that I didn't expect Suicide Squad to do is Suicide Squad is going to knock down all these doors for the DC universe of like, all right, you already know aliens exist. You already know Aquaman exists. Guess what? Magic is real. Magic is a thing here. Enchantress is this, and she's doing these magic, you know what I mean? Like, and somehow that's when like the universe I feel is going to be so interesting and weird. And I don't know how they handle it or how they do it, but like it has a chance to be, and this is going to offend Marvel people, the most on par with its comic book counterpart. Because in comic books, right, magic exists. That's how it works. Don't worry about it. And in Marvel Universe, Thor is from another dimension, galaxy,
they
or whatever.
haven't got to the magic yet. And that's where when I'm talking about the catch-up thing, I think that at the point that we get Doctor Strange and a lot more of the like outer spacey magic-y bullshit.
Right. Justice League After Dark and stuff. But that's what's weird about Suicide Squad introducing it and having to tackle that, and like how does this work and how does that play in the universe? Then it does go back to, so that's happening. And is she still influenced by the Greek gods? Because that's something you can write off so easy in comic books, but like the whole thing with the DC universe, the shift in the lens they've put on it, right, is like this is happening in your world. Superman is an alien. He has come to your planet, and this is what's happening. And now everyone in the world knows aliens exists. How do we react to that? And then it is, all right, now there's the Suicide Squad, and now there's magic in our world that we didn't know about. And now there were Greek gods in our world, and we didn't know about, you know what I mean? Like, that's where it's going to get really fascinating to see how they juggle all that.
I feel like it's an easy sort of, I feel like once that you broach the subject of there's aliens and they've come to Earth and they have superpowers.
Yeah.
Really that once you get over that hurdle, it's not tough to swallow the fact that there is an ancient group of Amazonians living on an island that no one has discovered or seen.
I'm fine with the Amazons. That's not even my argument. It's the fact that was Zeus real?
Well, they've always but hasn't that always been her tie? Like,
but again, comic books make. Yeah. I mean, in comic books they like talk to the god of war. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's that.
I mean, that's fine for me, right? Like, I mean that. I don't see any reason why that would be a huge like stumbling point for people to.
It's not because this is what the DC universe has done. In Marvel, that'd be totally cool. If they were just like, oh yeah, there's a god, the fucking whatever. Let's go.
See, no, I disagree with that because our only point of our only real point of or touchstone for that is Thor, and they're not gods. They talked about how what was perceived as godlike was just science to Thor's people, and that how the gateway and all that stuff, and like how their powers and who they are is all perfectly explainable in their world. They're just immortals. They live forever, and they've got like superpowers, and they've got a shitload of. Like even his hammer was like something that was man-made, dwarf-made, you know. So I don't think that's not, to me, that doesn't resonate on the same level as magic does, where not Shazam, Captain Marvel,
but he's Shazam now. That's what they call him.
Right? That is a creature of magic, right? And so like him fighting Superman, that is a little bit bigger of a leap than saying like, oh, there's something out there that looks like a god, but it's not a god. It's just they're just an advanced scientific, you know, or an advanced civilization. That has ridiculous science that we can never understand. But it's different because they have to set that up, right? Because one of Superman's biggest weaknesses is magic, so they have to do that. But again, I always when people start talking about like, is this stuff going to be hard to swallow or not? I always point them back to the animated movies where I'm like, look, they do it right there.
And I'm not saying they're going to do it wrong. Right. It's just that I was of the belief that for Wonder Woman's origin story, what they were going to say is that the pod we see in Man of Steel that's open among all the other dead Kryptonians on Earth, one got out, went into the human race, found an island, and they bred for years. You know, I forget how long that ship had been on Earth or whatever.
Oh, you mean the original pod?
Generations. Yeah, one of the scout ships. Remember that eventually Kal-El finds.
That would have been interesting. That would have been an interesting.
Well, because that would have been an easy way to explain how this is. Because again, I mean, the hang up I have is that Marvel's universe, Thor comes down, oh, it's just normal to us. Like, it totally makes sense because the comic book movie for Marvel is a comic book come to life. Whereas DC's argument is like, this is your world, and this is what would happen if heroes really became real. So I mean, if right now Superman had all of a sudden appeared in our world and fought Zod, and we're like, fuck, aliens are real. That's crazy. Most people think probably aliens do exist and there's other universe. That's insane that somebody had the technology to get here. But all of a sudden, fucking Wonder Woman walks ashore and she's like, oh, we've been all living there. We're the descendants of Zeus and shit. We're like, what? Fuck, Zeus was real? Where has he been? What's happening?
What's up with her?
What about Buddha and Jesus? Do you have them too? Like, wait, whoa, we got to talk about, theology here.
I feel you only as far as on the world that Nolan set up, but the world they try to set up in Man of Steel. But when you're going back to the DC's origins, I don't have to explain this to you, is like it's quite the opposite of what you're talking about.
Oh, sure. No, but that's what I'm talking about, the movies. That's what I'm saying.
To me, the movies, like when you say that, that's something that doesn't sit well with me because I look at Marvel and I'm like, everything's easily explainable in Marvel. Like Hulk is a scientific experiment.
Right.
Iron Man, super smart guy. Captain America, scientific experiment.
Yeah.
Thor, alien. So all of those are things that I can explain, but like, and I disagree. Like, what if they put magic in there? I just don't think it would. I'd be like, that's fucking weird. That seems
they're
off
about
to.
And
it's fine. I mean, all this stuff is super easy to do. But I forgive DC for all of these things because that to me is what DC's always been about. Sure. And I look forward to it. I'm like, oh yeah, perfectly.
And that's the whole thing. I'm sure they're going to explain this all in a way that makes sense. Right. I'm just saying that I was thinking they were going to go a different direction.
It would have been cool, but like how many people would have been pissed off and be like, you can't fuck with Wonder Woman that much?
Dude, when this rumor surfaced like 2 years ago, everyone was livid. She's just another Kryptonian. You know what I mean?
Why were you the fucking vacation house for Krypton?
But back to the footage.
Right.
I thought it looked good. I thought it looked interesting. It's a thing I want to see. I love that she was riding up on the enemy soldiers and pulled out her sword and fucking cut one. It's like, yeah, let's fuck some shit up, Wonder Woman. Amazon Warrior. It
reminds me of like the World War II stuff we saw in Captain America.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Where, I mean, obviously not World War. I think it's World War.
It's World War I. Yeah.
But I like that. But
totally different.
It's Colin. If Colin would hear, I'm sure.
But I just
similar, and it reminds you
exactly. Like, looking at it, you're like, oh, this looks a lot like Captain America.
So that's cool, and I like that they chose to set it in that period, right? Because what that tells me is they're like, okay, so we realize that we should have probably had 2 or 3 Wonder Woman movies before introducing her, but let's go back and now tell her origin story a little bit more clearly, and let's set that in a different time period. So it's so far removed from Batman v Superman and Justice League. that you'll feel like it's its own insular story.
Yeah.
Because it would be really like one of the things that you always have a big problem with, or you don't have a problem with, but you always kind of have to clarify is like, if that story were happening during modern time, well, then how would you explain away the fact that Superman and or Batman's not around, right? Mm-hmm. So let's put it in the turn of the century, 1900s.
Yeah.
And that makes sense to me. But I mean, I look at the action in it, and I look at the way it looks, and I'm just like, I don't know, man. I will see it. It looks cool, but there's nothing in it that I connect with. That I'm like, I have to see this, right?
I totally feel you on that. I think you brought up during one of the Colin Moriarty Live today, right? That one kick scene they had looked weird.
Totally. I mean, I look at that and I'm like, all the footage they showed could not care less.
And I think honestly, what it speaks to is the fact that like we wanted to be a part of this. We want to show that it's coming, and we're not trailer ready, right?
Yeah.
None of the visual effects are ready to go. This is what we shot so far. Like Chris Pine in the interview, his hair is cut like he's like still filming. You know what I mean?
I have no doubt that that's the case.
So they were like, yeah, let's ride this wave of getting everything out there and talking about all this stuff and put out what we have, and what we have is not.
And having said all that too, it's like what Nick was saying. I'm gonna watch it and I'll see from there. But it's just like Thor. There's no trailer Thor could have put out that would have made me been like, I'm sold on Thor. I need Thor. Like, but then I saw Thor and I'm like,
yeah,
wow, enjoyable.
It was okay.
Exactly,
like that wasn't bad.
Right.
And I think Wonder Woman's gonna be the exact same thing. Where it's like I'm definitely gonna see it. I'm probably gonna see it day one.
Yeah, you'll have to because it's your job.
I'm gonna see it day one.
Yeah.
But I look at the footage and like. I wouldn't even need it to talk about it.
Right.
Like it's
I honestly, I mean, like that's the thing. Being a DC fanboy, I was happy to get all this stuff last night. But most of the whole show was just like, all right, this is just just some drawings and stuff. And like, okay, we see for a second what like their design right now for Ezra Miller's Flash suit is, and I'm like, it looks different than the Flash on TV suit. That's awesome. That. Yeah. It looks a little bit more armored, and there's like one lightning bolt here and no like circle. And again, concept art, you got like two framey things of it or whatever.
It's always fascinating to me, and I know why they don't do it. But like, I love the Flash.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know the actor's name, but
Grant Gustin.
Grant Gustin. He does such a good job on that show that it's almost like, can't you call him up to the big leagues?
Yeah, I mean, I hear you, but that's the whole problem. I mean, that was always my thing when DC's movies were floundering.
Like, if you're gonna put Arrow in something, can it just be Stephen Amell?
Yeah.
Please, can you just like. If he's gonna be a side character back there that's shooting arrows, like fucking put Stephen Amell in it. Like, I feel like I don't know. That's always been the fan dream since like the dawn of television versus movies. And there's always been like there's always been that like that stigma of television actors, like you're not, and stemming back from like the late 60s, 70s, and 80s.
I remember
like,
well.
In the 80s, if you were a television actor, you were like a fucking second class citizen. To movie actors.
Sure.
But it's not the case anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, it breaks the universe, and I think it's what you see with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter, which I know people like. I'm not going to take shots at those shows because I haven't watched them since season 1 when they didn't click for me. But the problem is that it's the same thing I was talking about with Jessica Jones, right? Where it's like, all right, we've introduced to this world Superman, Batwoman, Wonder Woman, all these different things, right? And then Flash and Arrow go back to their own things, and they can't use those villains that they were using before. And it's like, well, this is the thing. Well, why don't you call the Justice League? Why doesn't everyone come down and swing in and help you for this threat that is trying to end existence, right? You know what I mean? Like, they have their own little universe. And what I'd love, and I know they won't do this either, though, is now that the multiverse is introduced in there, is to have somebody step through the portal, have Gal Gadot step through for an episode, right? Of like, oh, in my world, this is what happened.
But even that, like, are we not as a society smart enough to distinguish between the two? Like, can you not just be like, I get it, this is different, they can't do this, it's different over here.
It's not that you can't, I mean, that's what they're asking you to do now.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's when they are in the same world that it gets weird, right? And the production values aren't there.
It's because the rules. I mean, that's the thing. It's just like shit that happens to the TV show has repercussions for the movies, but what if people didn't see the TV show and then it gets kind of shitty? That happens a lot with a lot of the
things. I mean, trust me, I understand it. I'm just saying, like, at this point, who cares?
Okay.
Like,
Ezra Miller's suit looks cool. That's what you missed. They talked. What I liked about it was the angle they were talking about every one of them having how every one of these heroes inhabits their own space. So Superman's sky, Batman's like Earth or whatever, Wonder Woman's magic or whatever the fuck you want to call her.
Wonder Woman's islands.
Yeah. Aquaman's
tropical islands.
Aquaman's working in the water or whatever. Cyborg, they were talking a little bit, showed it. I couldn't even describe this. He looks like Cyborg. You know what I mean? What you've seen for Cyborg already, but how he is like the digital realm, right? Like he's dialed into everything. That's like his.
Oh, can we please get a DC Hackers movie?
Oh, you will. Sure, that'll be the Cyborg movie for sure.
Dude, Hackers has been on my Netflix queue for like the past 6 months, and I just keep it there to feel good about myself. It just makes me feel right.
I'm glad this exists.
Yeah, like started to bring up hackers at a very important
that's
time.
how the show works. Don't worry about it.
God.
And then, so that's happening. You got him. And then Flash is going to be more time-based in terms of he can now, like and granted, this happens in the TV show, and it's always been a thing with Flash or whatever, but he can get to the past easily. Like, that's a power he controls or whatever. So that, and like being able to go between dimensions or whatever, shit like that. Like live in the dimensions between seconds. I don't know. It sounded interesting in terms of like here's a Flash that's way more powerful, or at least is using his powers in a different way where he can manage it, right? Because like on the TV show, it's always like Cisco, I was running and another Flash showed up next to me. Like, oh, you're going back in time. Everything's gonna go shitty in this episode. Watch.
That was fucking cool the first time they did it. And then the second, actually, it was cool both times they did it.
Yeah,
because the second time he was like, oh, I know what's going on.
Yeah.
This is cool.
Yeah.
What should I do? And then it was a moral conundrum.
But it really wasn't. Hey, everybody died in the timeline I was just in, guys.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna tell you everything that just happened.
That was lame because that was the crossover episode. Right?
Yeah.
That was dumb. That scene specifically, you were like,
it was really good. You should watch it.
Yeah. The shows are great, but that scene specifically, you were like, what? Like what? But the Vandal Savage character, I think, is
he's awesome.
Is fucking
Vandal
awesome.
Savage.
Yeah.
Vandal Savage. Yeah.
Looks like Neil Druckmann.
You might have
True
sold
It's
it.
a lot like Neil Druckmann.
Yeah.
Holy shit! You don't know who Vandal Savage is?
No,
Do you know who Neil Druckmann is?
I do.
Okay.
Have you
Imagine
heard
Neil
of the
Druckmann
game?
If his
having
name
knives.
was Vandal Savage, he'd be unstoppable.
Imagine Neil Druckmann with knives, and that's Vandal Savage.
Oh my God.
And he's like, he's pretty much mortal.
Okay, I'm into it.
That's interesting. I feel like that's gonna come with a big set of circumstances, plot point wise. You know, whenever you have that many powerful characters, it's hard to write for that.
And I mean, keep in mind, I'm taking this from a 2-sentence thing
Sure.
Jeff Johns said on CW. You know what I mean? I'm sure the movies are going to put a few more limitations on it. I'm sure the Greek god thing will be explained a bit differently. You know, what his powers with the past and time travel are.
I guess the only thing I would take a little bit of, not offense to, but I guess the only thing I would probably be a little bit put off by is the notion that the Flash is that powerful, like, because they've already kind of overdone it with Superman a little bit. Just punch harder, and I wonder if
that's just bad Superman writing. Yeah.
But like the time stuff.
But I mean, like, I don't know. The cosmic treadmill's been around for everybody. I mean, like, there's all these different things.
First of all, they need a better name for the cosmic treadmill.
Way
better. Like, look, what was Silver Surfer's just the surfboard? Is that what they called it?
Yeah, they call them
cool.
Stupid surfboard.
That's cool.
Getting your
the Silver Surfboard, bro.
Yeah, getting
but the cosmic treadmill sounds like the kind of shit that you'd see like late night infomercial programming.
It wasn't the best named things, but it was the 80s and a lot of things were happening nobody cared about.
That's fairly true.
Yeah, but I'm interested to see. I don't know. It was like when they put up the concept art and you have them all there. It's like, fuck, this is gonna be interesting. You know what I mean? Because at this point, I'm still so stoked just when I see the TV spot that has all three, you know, Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman in it. I'm like, fuck, I can't believe I'm alive for this, let alone if I don't die before Justice League comes around. They're all doing all this shit. And then the other big announcement that I thought that hasn't been getting a lot of talk, which was interesting, is that Jeff confirmed that, like, Green Lantern is coming to the Justice League. Green Lantern will be in the Justice League. The Green Lantern Corps is a thing. Like, that's going to be, and that's got a movie now in 2020, which I don't know, had it been announced before, and now he's just confirming the Justice League thing. But it's I mean, they made a big deal about it at the end of the thing that was one of their announcements. So that's super awesome to have that, and I hope they don't fuck it up again.
That's awesome. Oh, man. Did you? Yeah, I was again. I go back to the animated stuff that they're doing. Like, the animated show was so good. Yeah. That CG show was so good. All you have to do is do that. Just do that again. Literally, take the fucking scripts from that and do it.
Yeah. Get Nathan Fillion in there.
Get a couple of screenwriters together. Don't let them fuck with it. Just let them cut out the non-essential parts and make 3 movies out of it. And boom, there's your Green Lantern trilogy. Because it was a fucking awesome story arc. They won't.
I know.
It'll be training again. It'll be origin again. It probably won't. Will it be Hal?
That's the thing. I don't think it will be. I bet it'll be Jon Stewart.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
No, that'd be cool.
I also hope Mogo's in it.
Mogo
is
the big
premier
dude?
planet. The premier planet in any comic book universe.
Good lord.
Mogo.
This is where we're
fucking
Mogo
at. Is he's the Green Lantern planet, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's ridiculous. I thought who's the ball that floats around? Not Mojo.
Pray for Mojo. It's a
Simpsons reference.
Oh god.
I'll look this up.
Monkey knife fights, yeah. I got you.
No, it was fun. It was cool. Suicide Squad was the biggest thing. I thought the Wonder Woman stuff looked fine, but again, it is just like Bushes, it got me as excited as the Bushes screenshot. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
There's that one shot of her in the Wonder Woman outfit, like walking through like smoke or something, and I was like, no,
I mean, she looks fucking
good.
incredible. Like,
Yeah.
like that's her as Wonder Woman. Sold.
I for one can appreciate a good collarbone.
Yeah.
Like, I really do enjoy a good collarbone, and let me tell you, like,
she's got him.
Yeah, great.
And then Superman stuff.
Yeah, what they show for that? I didn't see that stuff.
It was recut stuff from other trailers and whatever, and then like one or two frames where I was like, I don't think I've seen that before, but it wasn't like, anything like that.
What would you do if they were like, cool, we're just going to show you a brief snippet, and they showed you the entire movie? record.
It was already recorded. It's still out there if you want to go watch it again.
Nah, I'll be fine.
I watched it a couple times. I won't lie.
I'll be all right.